People want to get out of here.
And you and Vinny are going to pull the thing? Is that what you want to do?
And Janet.
We're going to be right here.
Be cool. What'd you shoot yesterday?
77 and an 82.
Oof. Unbelievable.
One, could I ask if everyone sort of comes forward a little bit? There's plenty of room here in the alcove of Gorman Hall. I want to welcome, first of all, everyone and thank you all for being here this morning. It's a very special occasion when the hurricane season chases Vinny and Janet out of the south back to up where we have the best weather in the United States. And I know that many of you have busy days today, and we'll try to keep our ceremony relatively brief. I encouraged Vinny yesterday to keep his comments to no more than 5 sentences. But that may be a challenge considering he's carrying his inevitable red book. I mean, and you know, for Vinny, he probably could have left us all a voicemail that would have gone on, or maybe 12 voicemails that would have gone on and given his speech. First of all, I want to thank particularly the trustees who are here today. The chair of our board, Mr. Howard Birdsall. Howard, you should be back there. And you know, great leadership is really the result of great leadership, and I can't say enough about our former chair is also here to honor Vinny, who was a very big part of the development of Brookdale, and that is Dr. Donald Warner. Don, thanks for joining us. Other trustees who are joining us today, Lex Tucci. Lex, where are you? I saw you back there. Thank you, Lex, for joining us. A person who was very involved with Vinny in the development of our technology infrastructure, Dr. Lewis Anderson. Lou. Ms. Joan Raymond, the chair of our finance committee. Joan. And the superintendent of the Monmouth County Schools and a very active member of our board, Ms. Eugenia Lawson. And really one of our outstanding graduate student trustees, and I know she's probably getting ready to go off to class today at Columbia, Tanisha Bass. Tanisha, thanks for coming. I noted that there are a lot of people that are going to be here and are here today who are really instrumental in helping build Brookdale as it is today, and I want to take special acknowledgement just for a minute to acknowledge someone who's been a really good friend, the president of the PMK group, Bob Gerard. Bob, thank you for joining us. I know that there are probably others who will be walking up, but since you didn't get your name on the list, too bad. I also want to acknowledge not only the person who served most directly as Vinny's immediate colleague, but his successor. First of all, Dr. Johanna Coburn, Executive Vice President for Education. Johanna, thanks for being here. And Mr. Lewis Getting, who is doing his best to follow Vinny's footsteps and establish his own. He swings left-handed. And I would like to bring the happy couple up, the retired couple. Boy, they look great. I saw Vinny yesterday at the golf outing, and although his swing was still absolutely picture perfect, there's some rust showing. And, you know, the poor guy struggled through a 76 at Hollywood. You know, not having played in whatever he said he was and complaining about an elbow. And all. Now, the rest of us are struggling to keep up with him. And so even on an off day, he was shooting 76, but he looks great. And his lovely wife, Janet, and just so wonderful to have the two of them back with us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our honorees.
read my comments?
No, I don't like to read your comments because people say I talk too long, so you can do it. It's just really wonderful to have Janet and Vinny back with us here today. I mean, we are obviously formally dedicating a building, but it is really about recognizing two of our very close friends and people who are a part of the fiber and fabric of Brookdale for just about all of its 35 years. And as I shared with Vinny yesterday how much we do really deeply miss him, obviously as a professional and the tremendous legacy that he has left behind, though I will say that things are running a little bit better. No, I don't mean to say. But more than anything, for me personally, particularly, I know for many of you here today, the personal absence of Vinny's presence and an incredible leader, a person who cared about Brookdale. And that's really hard to believe. It was hard for me to believe that this is our 35th anniversary as an institution. And many of the people around this alcove here this morning have been a major part of the development of this institution, but perhaps none more so than Vinny, and that's why we're here today. Janet, as I said to you at Vinny's commemorative dinner, we thank you for all the toleration you've put up with in the absence of having Vinny around and the long nights when he was out in meetings and so forth. And we always want to thank you personally for keeping him focused and helping him be successful in his many roles here at Brookdale. And we'd like to present you with some flowers to commemorate this ceremony. Now I'd like to actually go through the formal process of the dedication of the plaque. This is one of those things known as photo op. So we actually have to go back here where this sign is hanging, so anybody who wants to come forward and watch a little closely, you can. I actually have not seen this yet. And there's kind of a funny little story about this, that Vinny used to be the person responsible for getting these things done. Okay, when we dedicated Larison Hall and the Warner Student Life Center, we always like to put these plaques up that have what's called a bas relief. There are people that call them bras reliefs, but it's a bas relief that actually, depicts the face of the person. So we get a photo and it's sent to a person who does that kind of thing. And when you look at it in 3 dimensions, it doesn't always look like the person. And so I have no idea what this looks like, okay? Now Vinny, since he was the person responsible for getting these things done, made it eminently clear that he wants to look 27. He wants to make sure it's impeccably dressed and that the hair is perfectly styled. So we'll see what actually happened and how Lou handled this one. Maybe it was Anne Marie. Okay, so Vinny, Howard, would you like to work with us on this, being that...
I'd like to get my picture taken.
All right, so we will go back here and formally do this. I want everyone to know that, and for those of you that were not a part of the original announcement about this, that this building, this end of this, one of the original barns of Brookdale Community College, which is symbolic of the origin and the founding of this institution.
The horse flying.
And Vinny Gorman as a member, of really the founders of this institution, came on early on in the origins of the institution, really began the whole process of developing technology in this building. This building houses the offices of our IT staff. It houses a number of major servers for the institution's operations for technology. And it was really Vinny's original office. And spent many, many years laboring literally in the technology vineyard here in this building. And we thought how really truly appropriate it is to acknowledge Vinny Gorman's service to Brookdale by naming this building Gorman Hall. And so hereforth and henceforth, from this day forward, with the name on the building and with this plaque commemorating, it is known as Gorman Hall. So Howard, if you assist me. said, no, it's not bad, man. Your nose is a little. But that's appropriate. Vincent J. Gorman. Vincent J. Gorman served Brookdale Community College with honor and distinction for 32 years. He is the person most responsible for developing the extraordinary information technology capabilities of this institution. His commitment to students, staff, and the community reflects the true meaning of the phrase excellence in professional service. The Board of Trustees proudly recognizes that commitment to professionalism by dedicating this building in his name, December 2003. Vinnie Gorman, ladies. Okay, now it's time back to the podium. Okay, Mr. Building. Gets his glasses ready. I'm going to open his bottle of water because I'm sure he's going to start gulping. Ladies and gentlemen, our honoree, Vinnie Gorman.
Anticipated it, huh? Thank
I'll hold the water for you.
you. Okay. We won't go into the story about the gulping. Thank you. I've got my notes here because I'm not quite the public speaker our preceding speaker is, so bear with me as I glance at them over the next few minutes, not too long though. It's really great to be back here and to see so many friends. You can't imagine the emotions that are revived from being here with you this morning. Since first talking about this event, I'd be less than candid if I didn't admit that with each passing day my level of anxiety has grown. I'm not sure why, because I don't usually get so uptight, but I'll be glad when the next half hour's over. There is a saying that the greater the gratitude, the shorter the speech of thanks and don't applause. If that were the rule for this very special occasion for the Gorman family, I can honestly say that I would by now have completed my comments. And frankly, I'm not sure I'm able to put into words the depth of my appreciation for today's honor. And listening to Peter's remarks before mine, and hearing even the inscription on the bas-relief, which I initially called a bas-relief, I had difficulty in realizing that some of the references were truly to me. I had been portrayed, I think, with all the warts removed and the rough edges smoothed over. It is a portrait that not only touched me, but I suggest has retouched me some. That, as much as the honor itself, is what makes this such a humbling experience. Today happens to be the birthday of John Marshall, a great Chief Justice who did so much to maintain the Constitution as this supreme land, of the supreme land. The people, Justice Marshall wrote in a decision in 1821, made the Constitution, and the people can unmake it. Today isn't only about me, it's about the dedicated people of Brookdale who have made the college an indispensable component of Monmouth County's socio-cultural community and the premier community college in New Jersey, as represented by those of you here today and throughout the campus. For without the dedicated support and service of so many of my colleagues through the years, we certainly would not be here today honoring yours truly. Time does not allow me to sufficiently thank all those people, both at Brookdale and beyond, who in one way or another contributed to whatever success that may be attributed to my tenure at the college. I ask your kind indulgence as I mention only some of the individuals who have meant so much to me professionally and personally. And please understand these are a few of the many, many people I've been privileged to be acquainted with and who have supported me through the years. What better place to start than with the freeholders who every step of the way have supported Brookdale. Herb Arlacher, the founding president of Brookdale, was here not too long ago, and Peter was sharing some of their conversations and Herb's impression of the campus. And I guess in some ways, and this is amazing for Herb, he was speechless. And I think it clearly is testament to the support that we've had from the very beginning with the freeholders. We truly are the envy of all 18 sister community colleges in New Jersey, and in no small part due to the unwavering support of our freeholders. Couple this with the superb working relationship built over the years with the county administration, we have a winning formula for success. People like Lou Paparosi, Mark Acker, former county administrator Bob Collins have always been there when we've asked. Brookdale has, from its inception, been the beneficiary of an outstanding board of trustees, as represented by the members that are here today, comprised of dedicated volunteer leaders from across the community who offer extraordinary time and expertise to the leadership of the college. Currently led by Chair Howard Birdsall and Vice Chair Josh Elkes, today's trustees continue to break new ground for community colleges across the state and, frankly, across the nation. Certainly, whatever contributions I made over the years would have been unattainable were it not for the remarkable staff who proudly serve this institution and the community. I say thank you to each and every one of you for the confidence, trust, counsel, dedication, and invaluable colleagueship extended to me throughout my years at Brookdale. Before concluding my thank yous, I must mention two very special people. Tom Alk, who initially hired me and took a risk with this young guy coming off the street, gave me every opportunity to grow here at Brookdale during his time and my time. And if it were not for Tom, I don't think our paths would have ever crossed here at Brookdale. I'm sure it's not a surprise when I refer to Peter Burnham as the other special person in my Brookdale experience. For over 13 years, Peter and I worked closely together, and over time saw our relationship grow from a sound professional footing to an everlasting friendship. I will always be indebted to you, Peter, for your wise counsel, mentorship, and especially for the confidence you showed in me to allow me to carry out my responsibilities. Even though along the way I might stumble, so long as I learned from those missteps, we were okay. To all the aforementioned, you must know that you have made my journey at Brookdale a very special voyage, and with today's presentation, a trip that culminates in a fashion far beyond my wildest dreams. To paraphrase one of my favorite philosophers, Yogi Berra, and I got him in here, when asked by a reporter while managing the New York Yankees about the exceptional year Don Mattingly was having, and if he exceeded his expectations, Yogi replied, "I'd say he's done more than that," which certainly conveys my feelings about today's honor. My journey at Brookdale, as Peter alluded to, began over 3 decades ago when I reported for work to these very same buildings. They represented 2 Brookdale's original farms that were restored to accommodate what was called then Systems and Data Services Department, Community Services, Linda, and the Little Theater, amongst other functions. To see the Gorman name placed on the Delaware Jack stone, which is a signature architectural element that captures the farm's early history, is a magnificent experience, which when I think about it literally makes me breathless. I want you to know that I'm more than doubly honored here today for the spirit, words, and deeds you have chosen to convey to me are also meaningful. Need my water.
I knew you wouldn't be able to make it.
I did pretty good. I believe the most precious thing in the world for anyone is the esteem of one's colleagues and friends. Today you have made me a very rich person, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Before I conclude, I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce some of my family members who have joined us here today. First, my mother-in-law, Secret Daly. My brother-in-law, Harold Blankley. And as he insisted I do, my younger brother, Bob Gorman. And a very special friend of the family and former Brookdale student, Hermione. And I also, before I go any further, I want to thank the Marketing Services Department led by Steve Nocco and Marty Quinn and Mary Christian Clark. Boy, that sounds cool, Mary. MCC, for your efforts in organizing today's event. And I'm sure the buffet that follows from Food Services will be extraordinary, as it always is. And thank them and Facilities for the arrangements to set up the standing room only audience here. Before I conclude, I'd like to do what's probably the most difficult introduction, and for me, as I find myself unable to fully enlist the right words to describe how much she means to the Gorman family. Well, she's the most caring, considerate, and giving person I know, and I am blessed to have been her partner in marriage for almost 40 years. And you've met her already, Janet Gorman, my wife. Thank you. Unfortunately, my son Kevin and his wife Kelly couldn't be here, as is the case with my daughter Kristen, who is a dedicated teacher, and you faculty members here can appreciate this, didn't feel comfortable leaving her new third-grade class at this critical time in the school year. Kevin and Kelly, on the other hand, are not able to be here as they are attending to what has been perhaps the most thrilling thing to happen since I've left Brookdale, other than actually, I guess, saving money on my Geico insurance. I got George's attention finally. Welcome back. Actually, really, not only since I left Brookdale, but probably in our tenure together, Janet's and mine, we became first-time grandparents 6 weeks ago. And our grandson's name is Declan Foster Gorman. And I'm asked questions about the origin of that, but I won't go into all of that. But I can't imagine what it'll be like to bring Declan to the Brookdale campus in the years ahead to see Gorman Hall. That'll be a pretty neat experience. In concluding, all the Gorman family, and yes, even Declan, join with me in extending our heartfelt thanks and appreciation for honoring Grandpa here today on this very special day. Thank you, and God bless you all.
He even cracks me up. We have a wonderful reception over in the Warner Student Life Center, a breakfast reception for anyone who would like to come over and attend. We hope that all of you will have a chance to sit and talk with Vinny, and you know, our opportunities to interact with him now are unfortunately becoming a little more rare. But it's a chance to celebrate not just Vinny Gorman and the naming of this building, but also the great progress that this institution has made. You know, there are not enough buildings to name them after all of you. Freeholders remind me of that all the time. And I think that it's really appropriate that today we celebrate not just Vinny, but the legacy of leadership that characterizes this institution. And I hope for all of you, as it does for me, it leaves in you a sense of pride in that we work in an environment that is still very people-focused, that recognizes the contributions that individuals make, and that today is really not just about Vinny, but it's about all of you and all about everything that Brookdale is. Thank you all for being here. Please join us immediately right now, as soon as possible, and enjoy, for those of you that want to take the walk, walking through and across through the main academic structure, onto Main Street and to the Student Life Center, the Warner Student Life Center, and we'll be in Navasink 1 within the next 15 minutes. Thank you all very much.
Had to put it down on paper. I just can't read it.
I saw you have doodles.
Yeah,
There were doodles.
I ended up not using the whole thing.
But I mean,
Yeah,
your
why not?
speeches are brilliant. And I could go make a copy now and bring it to breakfast.
No, you don't. that. I don't need the hard copy. I just was thinking that I need my red notebook. That's all for my Brookdale experience.
All right, Vinny, we'll send you a couple.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. All I do is wear Brookdale stuff down there, and the number of people say, "What's Brookdale?"
Oh, it's a Brookdale.
Yeah, hats, shirts, all the stuff I have, the workout gear.
It's nice paper.
Yeah, I'm also conserving paper.
Look, this is your time to socialize.
Okay. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Robert. Thank
Great.
you for being
Bobby,
here.
nice to be here, bud.
Wonderful.
Great to see
Hi,
you.
Bob. How are you?
How are you doing? How's it feeling?
Well, everybody's doing great. The girl's doing fine.
Still running the shop?